Hi, world. My little dog has the zoomies. Patricia O'Connor and Frida Reba Darcy today on the Bonsai balcony. It is Thursday, which is our midweek drop, and we're going to do, I believe, episode 5 on the beginner series, and we're going to talk about feeding. Feeding to me was so confusing. I would feed my bonsai trees. When I first got into bonsai, I would feed them sporadically because I felt pretty sure that I was supposed to, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know how much, and I didn't know how often, and I didn't know what the end results would be in doing it bad. But I suspected all kind of stuff. I suspected that if I over-fertilized a tree, that it would get way too tall in some section of the tree that I wasn't going to be able to fix with bonsai practices. Also worried about not feeding would cause issues. There are also, there's just all kind of stuff out there that misconceptions and stuff. Like people have been saying, well, isn't the idea bonsai is to make our trees smaller, right? So if we go feeding it, doesn't that make it bigger? No, we have trees in a confined growing environment, and for that reason, we need to supplement how much it gets watered. We need to supplement how much it gets fed. That's just a trade-off. We're not trying to stunt something's growth by seeing how near death we can get it. No, the opposite. We feed our trees, we water our trees, we get lush, healthy trees, and then we make them smaller by utilizing good bonsai practices. And some of these, and part of those good bonsai practices, I'm just going to take a look at that sky. It's not always sunny and 70 here. This is a quite interesting day. I thought that was worth a second look. What I found out was that by putting off when I was going to learn about feeding, I set myself up. I set myself up with weaker trees, which then would invite pestilence or pests or bugs or insects. And you were just asking for problems. The best treatment against health issues on a bonsai tree is a healthy tree to start off with. That's what they start off telling you. Whenever you have some god-awful thing that you look up to try to figure out how to combat, a lot of times they'll tell you that the door was open for this, whatever it was, because you started off with a tree that was slightly on its back foot for whatever reason. When we get stuff that we can't do anything about, high heat events, high wind events, prolonged rain when it's not necessarily welcome, animal problems, something knocking something over, us knocking something over, somebody having a Patricia moment and the tree suffers. All of that stuff could be the third thing, or the thing that that finally took out the tree. But you can head that off, or you can make those be things that the tree survives quite easily by maintaining a healthy tree. If you skate along and do that decandle and repot the same year and stuff, and you go, well, my tree's really healthy, I'm just going to try to do that repot and that decandle all in the same season because, look at that tree and I got this cool pot here, blah, blah. And then you turn around and you get a heat event. Okay, well, might very well be the third thing, and you already kind of weakened that healthy tree that you were bragging about all that health. So feeding is important. Long story short, feeding is important. And what we should know about feeding is that a method that a lot of people use is a little bit of fertilizer often. And how often you feed your trees depends on quite a few things. The species of the tree, where you live. Those are important issues. For instance, I do something that most people probably don't do, in that I tend to fertilize some of my trees year round because they don't go fully dormant. And even the ones that shed their leaves and stuff, I notice that they are, I always notice a certain amount of heaving up in the pot, telling me that there's a lot of root growth and stuff. And shouldn't I, if I've got root growth and stuff, shouldn't I be feeding for that? I think I should. I think I should, in those instances, I should be feeding the tree as it's making stuff, as it's allocating resources and stuff. I should just make sure there's plenty of nutrients. Now, what I'm focused in on is what I use. This is not a paid endorsement. I don't know anybody that gets sponsored by BioGold, but it is something that a lot of people in the industry use. When it comes to the numbers that you would typically see on the front of fertilizer, that tells you, I'm trying to remember, potassium, calcium, magnesium. That may or may not be right, but there's like 3 sets of numbers on the front of most bags of plant food, and they'll tell you the percentages. And when it comes to the percentages of those 3 numbers are all less than 10. So they're all single digits, which means that, what does that mean? And that simply put, that means that I can give my wisteria BioGold and it will still bloom. There are certain fertilizers, they say, that if you give it enough of what it's asking for here in this nutrients or that nutrient, you'll actually keep it from blooming. You don't even worry about that if you go with and it's a little bit of fertilizer all the time. That's and if you live someplace where your tree goes absolutely dormant, you may not want to feed all the time. I live in a place where even in the dead of winter, it's still pretty temperate here. So for that, my results may vary. But what is BioGold? It's an organic fertilizer. It's these lumps. You can sprinkle them. 4 of those is what I'm honed in on, and 4 of those would fit in an area equivalent to about the palm of my hand. That would be considered a dose. So you would look at how many areas that would be, that little 4-inch square, and put 4. Yeah, that many, because that's a big pot. You see them laid out here on my oaks because they love being fed and they'll take it all year around. My pines, my ponderosas should be getting fed right now because they don't get decandled or anything. My Japanese black pines, if they're less than a year in their bonsai pots, they should be getting fed. If they're got decandled this past spring, they shouldn't be getting fed until fall, and then I'll put that back down. But that's not necessarily for you to learn now. What's important now is when we're in our growth season, from the end of winter to spring, in most places this is true, you're going to want to start feeding your bonsai trees. And if you go with an organic fertilizer, they say you can't burn anything with an organic fertilizer. I've heard that off and on my whole life. I don't believe that to be true. I know that things like chicken manure and stuff could definitely burn a tree. The end result in not feeding a tree, for instance, Japanese black pines, they will get a little yellow. They will start to yellow if you're not feeding them. One thing that they get a lot of nutrients and stuff. One of the better sources of, I believe, calcium comes from BioGold. I've had it mentioned from several of my teachers that this is a really good source of calcium. So also this is starts the microbial activity that you want down under. Most plants do not take fertilizer directly. They have a microbial system underneath the soil there. It's just a little microbial city unto itself. They eat they eat the nutrients and the fertilizer, but they live and die quickly. That's just how they go, and the plant takes up them and the nutrients that they took up, and that's basically the stomach of everything. Whenever I was learning about that, somebody brought up broccoli was one of the few things that if you fertilize will take the nutrients directly out of the soil. No mycorrhizal no mycorrhizal system needed. Everything else, most everything else, needs these little microbes and stuff, and BioGold promotes that mycorrhizal activity and also adds a certain amount of organics to your soil. If, for instance, like with my seedlings there, I could just, I've got a mixture of soils there, but I also have things you can see where I'm growing just in perlite. And for instance, the pines, my little seedling pines will make really fine roots in perlite, but there's no organic matter to that. It's cheap, it makes for fine roots, it holds water a little bit, so it has all of those. The bad side is it's just bleached white, so it's not really very decorative looking, and it also tends to float. But a little BioGold on top of that, and you'll see that it starts to get a little bit more organic matter in there, and it changes a little bit and becomes a little bit more hospitable. The colors change, which is also something I should point out. I'm not worried about show shape for these trees, so I'll take BioGold and push it down into my moss to make sure it doesn't get flipped out by the birds but also that leaves black stains. I could do away with that by getting the little plastic balls that you open up and put fertilizer in. I could throw or just tea bags. You could put BioGold in tea bags and place those around. And but look how much while we're talking about it, this line here and this line here and this line, these trees have just heaved up out of the ground this much this summer. Anyway, all of my trees from Dawn redwoods to cork bark oaks to pines of all varieties, they all get BioGold. It's 555 is what its numbers are. It does help start a mycorrhizal relationship with your plants. It does add a certain amount of, when it breaks down, it does add a certain amount of organic matter to your substrate, and it makes it really easy. You don't have to learn everything in the world right now about nutrients and fertilizer. You can tweak that or go down that path and or that rabbit hole just as deep as you want to, but in the early goings you could just check the box for some BioGold. And there are plenty of people out there who make a living doing bonsai trees who sell BioGold. I would recommend going to them over, say, Amazon. But for those of you who can't find it that way, there is certainly the A-word option. And why am I pushing BioGold? Because it's something that, without having to learn everything there is about fertilizer, it's something that a lot of bonsai people use. So I know the results and I know it works, and it's not something that I'm going to feed my trees and then this time tomorrow I'm going to notice that they've stretched it. But everybody's going to get the nutrients that they need to thrive and move forward. That's what we really want to do here. Is we would like to have our trees evolve and have our education of bonsai move and improve and forward. Somebody said, I heard one of my teachers say the other day that they can look at a tree and it's a mirror of the person who is the keeper. It's them. You are taking care of yourself in a way. If you are making the mistakes that new people who are new to bonsai, the bonsai master will see those mistakes. If they see a desire to design, the bonsai will see that desire to design. If he sees early design statements. In other words, all the things that they did as a beginner, they'll see that too, and that and a whole lot more. When someone who has been in bonsai a while, they will see the graffiti of the creator, of the keeper, all over that tree, and that's why we should elevate. That's why we should elevate our bonsai. Every time we put our hands on our trees, we should make them better. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is we're going to inoculate them, which is a topic for another show. And we're going to utilize good bonsai methods and practices to keep healthy trees. We're not going to achieve bonsai by trying to keep something near death to stun it in its height. There are techniques and methods to do that involve healthy trees, and one way to do that is to feed our trees. So that's it. Welcome to bonsai. This isn't that mind-blowing. Just learn the things you need to learn the first day, which would be take that newly acquired tree off the dining room table and get it in some light or outside pronto. Learn how to keep it alive the first day, and then learn how to keep it alive the first week, and then learn how to keep it alive the first month, and then spend part of that month learn how to keep it alive for a season. And there you go. This has been our little bit on feeding. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Our next drop will be this weekend when I'm not sure what we're going to do. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this afternoon. But I appreciate you. And yeah, Frida appreciates you. And thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for watching. 17 minutes. That's okay.